Namaste everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through a truly fascinating piece of literature today. We're going to look at a brilliant story called The Midnight Visitor. But, we aren't just going to read it. We're actually going to analyze it as a psychological case study. It's literally a masterclass in subverting the classic spy trope, showing us that true power doesn't always come from the barrel of a gun, but from the sharp, quick turning of a human mind.
Okay, let's dive right into this. I want you to just close your eyes for a second and picture a typical Hollywood secret agent. What do you see? If you're like most of us, your brain immediately pulls up a very specific image, right? One crafted by decades of flashy movies and thriller novels. You are absolutely picturing the romantic spy myth. We're talking someone tall, dark, and exceptionally handsome, a mysterious figure operating in the dead of night, someone who gets secret messages slipped into their hands by dark-eyed beauties in glamorous casinos, all accompanied by the crack of pistols and, of course, an endless array of high-tech gadgets. This thrilling, action-packed life is exactly what a young writer named Fowler had completely built up in his head before he actually met a real secret agent. Fowler wanted to experience this authentic thrill for his next book.
But instead, his grand romantic expectations are completely shattered. The reality is a man named Uzabal, and Uzabal is fat, like very fat. He's sloppy, completely ordinary looking, and despite living in Paris for 20 years, he speaks French and German just passably, and he still holds on to this heavy American accent. Fowler meets him not in some grand, luxurious casino suite, but in a small, musty room on the 6th floor of a gloomy French hotel. Honestly, Fowler is massively disappointed. He feels like he's totally wasting his evening. But Fowler's boring evening is about to transform into a high-stakes psychological battlefield. In this explainer, we'll map out this fascinating encounter step by step. First, the romantic spy myth. Then, enter the midnight visitor, followed by intelligence versus aggression, the balcony deception, and we'll wrap up with the power of composure. So, starting off with Section 1, the romantic spy myth. Like we said, Fowler was desperate for an authentic thrill. But so far, his evening was just him walking down a musty corridor with a rather uninspiring, overweight man. However, that mundane reality shifts in a fraction of a second. Uzabal unlocks his room, opens the door, switches on the light, and suddenly, Fowler gets exactly what he was looking for. Right there in the middle of the room stands an unknown man pointing a small automatic pistol directly at them. Fowler's boring evening is instantly turned upside down. This is the authentic thrill he was seeking. Maybe a little too authentic and certainly terrifying.
Which brings us to Section 2. Enter the Midnight Visitor.
The calm of the night is officially broken. We now have a full-blown hostage situation. The man with the gun is Max, a rival secret agent. He's thin, crafty, and has these sharp, almost fox-like features. Now, he didn't scale the side of the building with grappling hooks. He just stealthily entered using a passkey. Max is relying entirely on physical intimidation and the threat of his automatic weapon. And he's there for one specific reason, to steal a highly important top-secret report concerning new missiles that Uzabal is expecting to receive that very night.
Let's look at Section 3, intelligence versus aggression. And this brilliantly illustrates the core conflict we're evaluating. We are witnessing a real-time clash of two very different minds. Notice their approaches to problem-solving. Uzabal's weapons are his wit, his profound calmness, and a sort of strategic humility. He doesn't panic at all. Conversely, Max relies entirely on force, intimidation, and impulsiveness. Max truly believes the gun makes him powerful. But Uzabal knows otherwise.
Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds. The balcony deception.
This is where Uzabal's absolute genius shines. Without ever raising a single finger or using any physical force, he constructs a fatal psychological trap using nothing but his words. He executes a flawless three-step cognitive trap. Step 1, he acts annoyed and plants the seed of a fake balcony. He loudly complains to Max that this is the second time someone has entered his room through the balcony just outside his window. Max, who used a passkey, is surprised, but, he files this information away. Step 2, suddenly there's a loud knock at the door. Uzabal doesn't flinch. Instead, he calmly smiles and tells Max that it must be the police whom he had specifically requested to provide extra security for those missile documents. And Step 3, Ozable just sits back and lets Max's panic and gullibility do the whole job. The knocking gets louder. Max, utterly terrified of being caught by the police with a gun, backs toward the window. Believing Ozable's story completely, Max swings his leg over the sill and jumps down to hide on the quote-unquote balcony. But there is no balcony. Max drops 6 floors down into the night, screaming as he falls to his death. And when the door actually opens, it's literally just a waiter bringing the wine Ozable had ordered earlier.
And finally, Section 5, the power of composure. Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is the ultimate takeaway of our psychological study. We can clearly see the comparative outcomes of their problem-solving traits. Look at the approach. Ozable relies on strategic thinking and mental acuity, while Max relies purely on physical dominance. Look at their reaction under pressure. When faced with a gun, Ozable calmly invents a clever, totally convincing lie. Max, on the other hand, when faced with a simple knock at the door, panics and acts totally impulsively. The outcome speaks for itself. Ozable survives, secures his important report, and doesn't even break a sweat. Max, blinded by his own arrogance and fear, jumps straight to his doom. This proves exactly why Ozable is the superior agent. His sloppy appearance? Completely irrelevant. His mind is his ultimate weapon.
So, the crucial point is captured right here in a simple truth. Presence of mind and intelligence is more powerful than a gun. Ozable didn't need to be tall, dark, or handsome. He didn't need high-tech gadgets or a shiny weapon of his own. He evaluated his opponent's psychological weaknesses, Max's anxiety and his gullibility, and used them to disarm him entirely. True power, as we've seen, lies in intellect and deep composure, not mere physical force.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to think about. How do you react under sudden pressure? If the door to your comfortable reality was suddenly kicked open, would you have the supreme presence of mind to assess the situation, stay calm, and invent a brilliant solution like Ozable? Or would you rely on blunt force, panic at the first sign of trouble, and jump blindly out the window like Max? It's quite a fascinating psychological mirror to hold up to ourselves, isn't it? Thank you so much for joining me for this analysis, and keep expanding your mind.